The regretful MAGA voter is a trope that the liberal left is insistent is on the rise in America. Thousands of people who voted for President Donald Trump back in November are all now apparently regretting their vote as they watch the president plunge our nation into a straight dictatorship. But is this trope truly emerging right now in America, or is this just another liberal narrative based off of a lie used to try to divide what they see as a unifying MAGA Republican Party that scares the crap out of them? As someone who voted for President Trump for the first time back in November, I'm going to go over some of Trump's most noteworthy actions taken so far while in office. And yes, I will be giving my honest thoughts on these actions right here on American Advocates. Let's face the facts. President Donald Trump has done a lot of controversial things in his first 100 days in office. That much is very true. Let's start with one of the most noteworthy actions he's taken so far, and he did this almost immediately upon taking the Oval Office back in late January. And that action was restoring Title IX law. Title IX law was radically changed and reinterpreted under former President Joe Biden, whose actions in doing such were touted at the time as being pro-LGBTQ and pro-trans. Trump, however, spent all of last year campaigning on changing this and wasted little time in doing so upon obtaining office. He signed an order that essentially restored Title IX law back to its origins from the 1970s, which allowed this law to do what it was originally created to do: protect women in their own sports. In fact, the name of the executive order Trump signed to restore Title IX law is literally called the Keeping Men Out of Women's Sports Order. I kid you not. And the fact of the matter is this is a much bigger issue in America right now than Democrat politicians care to admit, or that their liberal voter base cares to realize. Aside from the most dedicated of liberal progressive voters, and weirdly enough, that even includes some of the feminists out there, the overwhelming majority of America believes that men, biological men, should not be playing in women's sports under any circumstances, myself included. It's a tough watch seeing footage of these biological men crushing women in their own sports and ruining the competition for all the women involved. And it almost always ends with them selfishly standing there taking the first place trophy like they just accomplished something, when the only thing that they wind up accomplishing, truthfully, is devaluing the trophy because now it means nothing. Now, when it comes to making America safe again and its security, especially at the border, President Trump campaigned hard on this. He will definitely be remembered as many things. The border wall president will definitely be one of those things he's remembered for. During the Joe Biden presidency, though, we saw our borders crumble and fall into the worst shape they likely ever have been in American history. Some sources claim that under Joe Biden, more than 14 million crossed that border and flooded our country illegally, all while Democrat politicians began offering up their cities as sanctuary cities. At the time, the Democrat establishment under Joe Biden also conveniently began busing and flying many of these illegal immigrants right into swing states conveniently. And this all happened during the 2024 election year. Watching this play out in real time infuriated me as an American. It should go without saying that legal immigration is a great concept that almost all Americans support. Illegal immigration, however, is a concept that anyone who has any shred of knowledge in history knows is one of the many given signs of the beginning of the end of a crumbling empire. So the fact that Trump has been incredibly strict on the border, has begun rebuilding the border wall, and sent the National Guard down there to assist Border Patrol and ICE, while rounding up thousands of the worst illegal immigrants in this country, sending them to the CECOT Prison in El Salvador. Yeah, I'm all for that. And go figure, with President Trump gaining office and all these strict actions being taken at the border crossing attempts have plummeted in his first 2.5 months in office, now down to less than 1% of what they have been. Border crossings are in fact at the lowest rate in American history, with the official statistics showing that the border is now 99.1% secure. Imagine that. All of President Donald Trump's dealings lately with the Department of Education have also been considered widely controversial, at least by the mainstream media. For me, it's quite simple. Government overreach is never good. Less government is always better. More control over things like education is always better left in the hands of the American people. The Department of Education has a proven track record of nothing but failure. Funding for this department has only ever continued to go up over time. They literally receive more money in funding every single year since they were created, while education scores for Americans, on the other hand, have only ever continued to go down. Americans are getting dumber. They're receiving poor quality education that's getting worse over time, not better, all while the department gains more and more funding. And what do they do with this funding? Well, apparently the purpose of this funding is to give the government employees who work at that department more and more raises every single year, all while they peddle wokeness and DEI concepts onto the young minds in America's education system. And when it comes to this level of wokeness being pushed on children in America, there are startling examples of this all throughout the internet now, from parents bringing it to other parents' attention. I think it goes without saying most parents are not in favor of woke ideology being pushed on their young children's minds, and this includes many liberal or Democrat parents as well. But thankfully, we now have Linda McMahon as our Secretary of Education appointed under President Donald Trump. She is actively gutting the department, laying off thousands of unnecessary workers, contributing to nothing but government bloat and wasted spending, and she has actually gone and shut down entire education departments across the country already, including the Dallas department. She's been very open about how her goal is their final mission, and she is straight up aiming to destroy this worthless department from the inside out. This coincides with a recent executive order that President Donald Trump signed in the company of young children, actually in a school setting. And this executive order, combined with Linda McMahon's actions, is going to all but seal the fate of this worthless American department. When it comes to this presidency, President Donald Trump is moving at record speed, or just straight up Trump speed, as his press secretary Carolyn Levitt would call it. For this reason, it's hard to actually cram all of the stuff he's done so far in one video while including what I think about it. So for that reason, I'm actually going to leave it there for now, and I'm going to create a part 2 to this video. In that part 2, I will definitely be going over other topics like the Department of Government Efficiency and Elon Musk. Are they really making a difference? I'll also cover the topic of President Donald Trump aiming his sights at DEI practices from within the government and seeking to just straight up remove that. And I will definitely in my next video be covering all my thoughts on the Trump trade war as I currently see it playing out now. And I gotta say, in my next video, there will be some minor criticisms at least for President Donald Trump that I've kind of developed over the course of his so far 86-day presidency. So make sure, if you enjoyed this video, to subscribe to stay up to date on all this new channel is doing. And until then, thank you very much for watching.